So anyways, when we talk about these agency loans, we want to qualify Fannie and Freddie. If you guys are not aware, I put stuff in the Facebook, but it tends to get buried. You need history. You need the net worth of the loan, 10% liquidity in the bank. You need, honestly, we were talking to a lender and they like to see that you're in the market or familiar with the market. So there's qualifications that we need to take down these deals. And when we do that, these are the people that we turn to for that help and that expertise. So my favorite part of the team for sure. So many great people. We'll start with Michelle, just give a little quick intro, and then we'll go Rob, Paul, Frank.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm so super excited to see some very friendly faces. I know I see Lenny and Chad, and I see Maria. I'm seeing obviously my favorite sponsors. So there's Rob and Frank and Paul. So thank you so much. My name is Michelle Jong. I'm based in California, and I am with Fire Capital. We are a social impact real estate investment company. I have a focus across 7 states. I have about over 700 units under management, approximately 80 mil thus far. And I am very excited to share my wealth of knowledge, my ups and downs and trials and tribulations. We are here. This is as Kim had mentioned, this is a safe space to talk about all of some of the challenges you might be facing, whether it's on the underwriting, always the life of the deal. So this is me. I'm happy to, I put my contact information. You might have seen the little matchbook on the chat just in case in the future. So feel free to take a snapshot of that QR. And if you have further questions as a follow-up, I am available.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob. Take it away.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rob Roselle. My beautiful bride, Claudia, and I work as a team. We've been in multifamily since 2009. We are recovered house flippers. So if you are a house flipper and you're looking for some recovery, I can relate 100%. There's nothing wrong with that. Although flipping houses and wholesaling for me was more of a side hustle than it was passive residual income. Wealth, the true wealth that I've created has been through multifamily. My wife and I are currently in 9 states and just north of 3,000 units between joint venture, general partnership, limited partnership, key principles, and the things that we own ourselves. And we consider it we consider it a responsibility when we take people under our wing as partners. That we are going to really be mentors to them, especially people that are in your shoes. And I know I'm speaking for all the sponsors here. We understand the responsibility that goes along with it. Isn't just a net worth. It isn't just business. We become a family, guys. It's a 3, usually more than that, 5-year relationship minimum. And our goal, and again, I think I'll speak for all the sponsors here, very likely here. Our goal is that maybe you need us on the first one, maybe you need us on the second one, but hopefully your net worth has increased. You don't need us on the third one, but you want us on the third one because you see the value that we bring to your partnership. So that's really our goal. Excited to get to know you guys all a little bit better. So I'll shut up.
I love it. Paul, and you're on mute.
Yeah, glad to be on the call today. It's good to see fellow sponsors. And by the way, all the sponsors, Frank, Rob, Michelle, they're awesome. And hopefully we can bring a lot of value to your evening. Thanks, Kim, for setting up the call. My name is Paul, and I guess my background is, I've been in real estate since 2001. It was kind of a hobby until 2016. Before that, I owned and operated a nationwide trucking company with offices in 5 states. And then before that, I was a school teacher. So got into multifamily, looking for a little more flexibility and freedom. And of course, met a lot of awesome people along the way. I think I'm currently in about 820 units right now, whether it's GP, LP, sole owner, things like that. I do a lot of small and medium-sized deals, and I'm also part of the team at Viking Capital, helping to find and acquire properties in Texas. So I mostly look for Texas, Georgia, and Indiana. And so hopefully I can help you guys out tonight.
Thank you. Frank, you're up.
Hi, guys. My name is Frank Padalano, former school teacher of 17 years. I started investing in real estate around 2004, started with smaller multis, got in the syndication game about 4 or 5 years ago. Currently around 1,500 plus doors between GP and LP, JV and everything else. Obviously that bumps around a little bit. It has not been updated, so I should probably check that out. Besides that, what do I like? I like deals in mid-sized markets that are not the hot markets. I've avoided all those hot spots, which is bad for the past few years, but as of right now, it's a little good because I see the rents have started declining in some of those super hot markets.
Yes. Yes, I've definitely seen that. So, all right, thank you guys. So everyone, anyone that coming in late, sponsor call, we're gonna dive into our questions now. What I'll do is I'll go through just like that, because every time I try to switch it up, I'd forget who I asked. So we'll start with Michelle, go to Rob, Paul, Frank, and then on the way, next question, we'll do it in reverse. So Frank, Paul, Rob, Michelle. But I'll call you guys out. I'll let you know. I don't want us to get, I know I get confused, but all right. So we like to learn about how to work with you, right? And honestly, you guys kind of answered this question, so we could probably, I'll throw it out there if you want to answer it quickly, and then I could just go into the next one, because we did answer. The first question was, how involved are you on the deal from acquisition to close? Pretty much the life of the deal. Is that what everyone said here? That's pretty accurate. So perfect. That's what we love to hear. All right. We do want to know, for everyone, when do you deem it an appropriate time that is a deal sourcer, so one of our new investors uses your bio, uses your experience, your portfolio, your website, that schedule of real estate, the brokers tend to ask for, they want to know they're doing business with serious buyers. And so that's one of the challenges that some of our new investors face, is when brokers are pushing back. And so they want to say, hey, this is my team, but can you tell us for you, when is that appropriate? Michelle, you can start. Oh, and you're muted.
Sorry about that.
No
No, that's a great question. In terms of, you're right about the whole, how involved, and I think I speak for a lot of these sponsors here on this panel, is that we get involved pretty much throughout the life of the loan, through the loan and through the exit. So reiterating what Rob says, you might need us a lot more hands-on the first one or two deals, and then afterwards, once you have your feet on the ground and you're running, then depending on the type of deal mix, we can extract ourselves in certain occasions, et cetera. So I think it really is on a deal by deal, and also it depends on the experience. But as for the when I personally like to get involved, is the earlier the better. In a lot of cases, especially nowadays in this market where there's still a big gap in terms of seller and buyer expectations, in terms of, sellers are still thinking it's 2022 and those prices are at 2022. And, with the changes in the Fed and insurance and higher operating costs, higher labor costs, et cetera, buyers come in, have a very different number. Oftentimes the strength of the sponsorship is what closes the deal. You might not be the highest price, but you can show and demonstrate the ability to close. So, and especially now when you are faced with, sellers are looking for not just that mix, that special blend of price as well as ability to close, then your experience on the earlier stage becomes critical.
That's very true. I like that. I let everyone know, you guys can help us negotiate with things that, we might not even know how to yet. So we don't know what we don't know. Rob, can you answer to when is it okay for someone to use your expertise with brokers in particular?
Sure. So generally on the first couple of offers, LOIs that we put in, we'll generally communicate pre-LOI. There's some clauses that are in my LOI that aren't in the standard boilerplate stuff that we get from the education companies that have kept me safe a number of times, as well as my PSA. But at the LOI stage, I really want to be involved with that so I can show somebody those little clauses that will just make the PSA negotiations go a whole lot smoother. I'd rather get it out of the way during the LOI process. Once I feel comfortable, Claudia and I feel comfortable with somebody's abilities on the LOI side, then I don't mind. In fact, I've got a few partners. I won't call them students. I'll call them partners because we partner on a few things now. And some of them we haven't closed the deal with yet, but we've done enough LOIs to where we're to the point now where they send me a photo of the returns screen. They send me a photo of the exit strategy screen, and I can look through their numbers. They know what my criteria is for where I want to be on the dashboard, and they pretty much just show me that they're there. I ask a couple of questions, and they have my blessing to use my bio. And then when they do submit the LOI, I'm CC'd into the conversation. As well as, my bio is on there and all the things that we include with the LOI submission. So generally a deal or two. That's my long-winded answer to say a deal or two. How's that, Kim?
I like it. Paul, do you have a preference?
Yeah, I like to, it sounds like we're all kind of along the same thinking. Just before LOI is great. we can kind of review it, make sure we've got everything in there, kind of take a look at the numbers, and then have time to dig into it before, if it goes to best and final, then we've already taken a look at it, things like that. When you first get started, you're going to have to rely on your kind of your team to get started, because if you submit an offer to a broker and he's never heard of you and you have no track record, then it's not going to get very far, because they'll just kind of throw out your offer. So it's going to help a lot if you can rely on a sponsor to kind of bring that credibility. Now, don't just take my SREO and say, me and my partner Paul, without talking to me, but we're happy to do that. If we take a look, we like the numbers. I think I speak for all the sponsors. We're gonna be like, yep, the numbers check out. Yeah, feel free to use that. Copy me in. So,
Like it. Frank?
I was thinking, talk to sponsors early and often. Just the fact that there are different markets, there are different deals, different types of opportunities out there. I mean, I'm not sure if most people in this room are doing standard multifamily value add, which I would say, a lot of people are doing. You might need something a little different. I mean, we have a small hotel, we have international stuff. But at the same point, I'll be honest, I've never done a self-storage, so I wouldn't be able to help you on that. So I would be someone who I would recommend just continually speaking to sponsors to see what they're looking for a buy box, what they're willing to support, and that's why you got to show them what you're thinking about with numbers, et cetera.
I like that. I see a lot of questions in the chat for those, like, if this is your first call, I promise you, hang on. It's going to be a good one. A lot of these questions that you're asking in the chat will be asked. All right. So anyone that comes in, again, like we'll drop contact info below as well. But thank you guys for that. We also want to know, and again, the chat's already kind of alluding to this, when you do partner with a new investor, what kind of roles and responsibilities do you trust to them? Like we're taking the lead, and what I think we want to know, how do we add value, right? Like, what can I come full force? Am I, what kind of tasks can I offload onto your plate? Things like that. Just if they want to learn hands-on, is there things that you trust with them? We'll start with you, Frank.
Sure. So when I sponsor deals, the most important team member that I usually need is a boots on the ground partner. That doesn't mean they can't be other roles, but I'm up in that small real estate known as Rhode Island, so there's not many deals coming my way locally. So that's why I'm across the fruited plain, sponsor in Idaho, Texas, GP in South Carolina, New Mexico, etc. That's the main thing I need. Obviously, hopefully either you or someone on the team has experience in underwriting. I'm going to double check all the underwriting anyway. Obviously, even though I'm sponsoring it, if you had a little bit of liquidity, if you have somebody on the team with a little bit of experience in capital raising, those aren't requirements, but obviously everything you bring to the table makes it easier. Yeah. Okay. And what we'll do is, if it's a great deal, we'll fill the rest of the team with other people that I've worked with before.
I like that answer. I like it. Everything that we can do. Okay. Paul, how do you let people be hands-on?
well, first I'm going to ask, like, do you have any kind of expertise that you can bring? Have you raised money? Do you have a construction background? Do you have, anything, like Frank said, anything that you can bring to the table to make it easier for us is fantastic. Worked with brand new people that don't know the first thing about multifamily, and and that's great. It's also great to have a partner that has some of these areas, and basically whatever areas that you have some expertise or some skill in, we're happy to. I don't know about the rest of sponsors, but it's sometimes we got so much going on. It's like it's just a huge relief when somebody says, "Yeah, I'll go to I'll go to Atlanta next week and check on the progress or whatever." So it always helps to have some liquidity, depending on where we are in deals. Sometimes I don't have any to spare, and other times I've got all that we need. So that can be a big thing sometimes.
Thank you. Please forgive the lights on and off. We're in the office, and it's Saturday. These timers keep going off. All right, Rob, can you share with us the roles you like to share with new investors?
So my goal is to give the team that's bringing the deal to us as much as I possibly can, which is wonderful on a couple of levels. Number one, they get to learn what it is they do. I'm going to coach. I'm going to send direction. I'm going to advise. but they're going to get the opportunity to get the experience to do the work. And for those of you that haven't figured this out yet, I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. What I've observed for the most successful students are students that are in the early stages. They've got the glasses on. They're looking for the right partners. They're looking for partners that make up the weaknesses with their strengths. Everybody's not going to be phenomenal at spreadsheets. Everybody's going to not be phenomenal at shaking hands and kissing babies and talking to brokers and doing the money raising, but somebody's got to be really good at that. Somebody's got to be really, really good at spreadsheets and really owning the underwriting. Somebody's got to be really good at the due diligence, going in the financials, because once we get this thing approved, once we get the blessing and get the nod on the offer, we're going to go in the weeds and make sure that every single line on that T12 matches up to the actual expenses. And that means looking at dumpster bills, light bills, water bills, sewer bills, all of that. Someone's got to be really good at dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Someone's got to be really good at Dropbox or Google, right? Google Drive, right? So whatever you're using. So what I've found is I'm very good at all of those, but I don't love all of those. So even if you're good at all of those, chances are you don't love all of those, and it's not your superpower. It's not your strength. It's not what you love to do. Your goal is to find a number of people, and I just posted a video on this, so if I'm being repetitive, if you follow me on the socials, I apologize, but you want to find the dream team. You're not looking to partner with people just because they're willing to partner with you. You're looking to partner with people that are going to make up your dream team. Because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people that are serious, that are taking this not just as a side hustle, but as a career, that want to go to the next level, right? Throwing some money at education doesn't mean that you're serious. It does put some skin in the game, don't get me wrong, but I know a lot of people that have spent a lot of money on education that aren't doing multifamily right now. So my goal would be to and the other thing about the partnership thing is when you are out of gas, they will fill your tank. And you will get out of gas from time to time. This is a tough business from time to time. There are discouragements. There are things that have you get discouraged. And when you get a partnership team, I've seen on in general, it's usually about 3. It might be 4. It might be 2. But usually it's about 3 people that come to Claudia and I and have a project, and that spreads out the work very evenly. I hope that answered the question.
Oh, no, it was beautiful. Man, you answered that good. I love it. Like, yes. I don't know. Skin in the game sometimes isn't enough. It's a marathon, people, and it's not a sprint. So when you hit a road bump, it's not to give up. Michelle,
I will tell you, just to piggyback on that briefly, I'm a very independent A personality guy. I built a bunch of auto repair shops. I did not have partners other than my wife. So for us, independent, entrepreneurial spirit people, it's very, very difficult to really realize that we do need some people to make up our weaknesses if we're going to be successful at this.
I love it. Michelle, yeah.
I would never have guessed, Rob, that you're A type.
Never. I hide that.
Anyway, so for all you A types in this room, which is all of you, because you're actually on a Saturday night listening to us. So thank you so much. One thing that I like is, and I am echoing a lot of what Paul, Frank, and Rob had mentioned. I look for the yin and yang. That's cohesive, because it takes a team. It does take a village to make a deal a success. Everyone has a superpower. One way to create transparency and clarity to kind of just cut through the fog is your bios are really important. And if I can provide a suggestion for all of you folks that are just getting in, like just a really quick short bio with maybe a background, maybe as one of, I think it was Kimberly had mentioned, or it's Paul or Frank mentioned, that if you have property management experience, even if it was a single family home or fix and flip space, at least you have some of that awareness. You know the lingo, you know the language, and it's easy to transfer those skill sets over to multifamily. It's not an all, but it's not an end all be all, but at the same time, we appreciate that. And asset management right now is like, it is so critical. If you have experience with construction or experience as an architect, these are all things that you should be definitely mentioning to us, because then we know kind of where your superpower and how it fits in as a team. If you have experience, I'm an ex-techie, I'm an ex-strategy consultant, so numbers, I have that background. I love numbers. I will go down and do a deep dive on your underwriting. Excel is fun for me. I can't believe I said that, but I did. And so I will definitely be looking at your numbers. So if you have that, and in some cases, in some deals or so, if it's especially a very big deal, you're going to need 2 sets of eyes. So having someone that you trust, that you can partner with on the due diligence, on looking at utility bills and leases and all of that, You know, that's really important. And the other thing that I would say in your bio is, you know, just tell me a little bit about yourself outside of the work. You know, I like to know who I'm working with, because there are going to be some really long hours at 1 a.m. on a Saturday that you're like having to work. And at the end of the day, we have to like each other, right? This is a team. And my focus is very much team effort. And even though, I'm just end here is say that even though your strength may be property management, for instance, but you want to build skill sets in, let's just say, capital raising or underwriting, just state that, because a lot of us, especially, you know, Rob, Paul, Frank, we're here to mentor. We're here to raise the bar and to help you build your long-term success. So this is a journey. It's a marathon, as it was said. And any way that we can not just leverage your superpower, but also help you develop new ones, so be it. That's great.
I love that. Michelle, this is not a part of my, thank you, baby. This is not a part of my questions, but I did hear you touch on that underwriting piece and how you check it, right? Like, would it be fair to say, like, our students should be, you know, bringing their underwriting to the coaches, right? Like, we pay a pretty penny to be in this network with these resources, including coaching. So do you think it'd be like, and asking all of you actually, would you encourage, is that something that they should take advantage of? Having even the second pair of eyes here to look over it before they bring it to you?
Yeah, that would be lovely. That would help filter and speed up and speed your learning as students, as well as save time. For
Okay.
sure.
Gentlemen?
Yeah, I think it's very valuable to have, you know, is it Jocelyn? I forget the first name, that reviews the underwriting.
Jordan.
Oh, Jordan.
Jordan. I called her Jocelyn. Forgive me.
You do that every time.
I do. Thank you for
You
reminding
do.
me. So, no, just, I think it's very valuable to have somebody that knows that spreadsheet in and out, whose eyes can go right to the spots they need to go on certain pages and ask those questions and just get clarity and maybe direct. Although I will say it's not an end all. They only have so many hours in their day, so they're going to do the best they can at a flyby at 10,000 feet, not 30,000, not 2,000, but 10,000. And that's when your sponsor will dig into it with you as well after that.
That's usually one of the first questions I ask is, okay, so you got the underwriting, you're going to send it over. Has anybody else looked at this, like Jordan or one of the other coaches? And when they say no, then I mean, it's okay. But, you know, sometimes if they say yes, it's like, okay, good. If they say no, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to just have to check a little more, you know, carefully. You know, so yeah, I think you should definitely be using your coach and, or Jordan or, you know, whoever you're working with.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Frank, same?
You bought the program for a reason, right?
Yes, get your money's worth. All right, this one I'm gonna skip to this one because the next two are pretty in line. But this one, like, I'm sure it could probably be a quick answer. So in this business, right, like a lot of people are, you know, they're talking to the brokers and they're getting this information and they think, you know, like there's a, you know, best and final call, or there's, you know, like there's a sense of urgency, and so they reach out, asking you to sponsor them. How long should there be before, you know, not that they get the hint and move on, but that they, oh, you know, like maybe they're just too busy. I'm going to go to my next person in line. So is there a time limit that you guys give, or that we should think and to have in our mind to when that, you know, for your response for a request to sponsor? If they don't hear from you in 24, 48 hours, should they just keep on?
No, you have, I'm sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm bottom line is that, please don't contact any of us. I'm sure if it's like, oh, we have our LOI due tomorrow, I think all of us would say, you know, if, I would like, ideally, in an ideal world, especially if I haven't spoken with you or haven't met with you or worked with you, at least a minimum of a week heads up, because I'm still trying to get to know you. We're still trying, we're courting each other. So we have to essentially figure out if this is the right fit, availability, all this. So definitely not within, like, even 48 hours is a no-go. You know, 72 is a stretch. So ideally for me, it's a couple of days, and, you know, we're all busy. So feel free to send it for me. I definitely encourage friendly reminders and follow-ups because, you know, life happens. I'm a single mom of teenagers, and I'm juggling it just as much as, you know, I know Kimberly has even more kids. I mean, she's juggling. We want to be available, but sometimes just life happens. So feel free to send a friendly reminder.
I like that. Rob?
Well, you said that what I was going to say in a little bit different way. What I was going to say was, you have my permission to lovingly stalk me. Okay? So, and
Lovingly.
which means send a friendly reminder. Here's the thing. I want you to picture two different scenarios. Let's say that you are a mortgage broker and you got a guy that's got one guy that's looking to buy a house, and he's a first-time home buyer and he does his taxes at H&R Block, and he's a real low-hanging fruit, right? So his file to go through to get his loan approved is about this thick. And then you got this guy over here, and this guy is really, really complicated. He's a business owner. He owns real estate. His schedule of real estate owned takes up three tabs on a spreadsheet. Who do you think is going to get that mortgage broker's time first? You would think the complicated guy, but I can tell you right now, the complicated guy is going to suck up his bandwidth for half a day, and he knows this low-hanging fruit guy. And they both of the loans, by the way, pay him the same commission. So your goal is to make your deal low-hanging fruit for the sponsor that you're going to hit it, that you're going to send it to, by doing as much of the work as possible. I have created an underwriting deal questionnaire that if you do reach out to me, I'm going to ask for your email address, and feel free to send me an email. I put my email in the chat. I'll put it in there a few more times. If you send me an email, I'm going to provide you with my underwriting questionnaire. And what that underwriting questionnaire does is it allows me to put on the same glasses as you've got on when you're underwriting the deal, such as what is the loan structure, what is the business plan, what is our exit strategy, what is. Because I can look at the underwriting and not have the right glasses on and say this is not a deal, but not know what you're thinking. So you really want to make sure that, and that's just one tool that I've put together to try to make it so that your file is this thick and not this thick, and doesn't get pushed to the corner of my desk and get ignored, right? And then you really have to lovingly stalk me, probably more than lovingly. So the goal, the goal is to try and make your deal very easy for someone to navigate through, so that they give it time. And then Michelle hit the nail on the head. If you ask me, if you tell me that the best and final is tomorrow, or the call for offers is tomorrow, my response is going to be text the broker and ask for a couple more days. And you know what they'll say? Okay, because you know what? If they're getting a bunch of offers, it takes them 2 days to put them all in a spreadsheet to present to the seller anyways. So I just tell you, if he won't give you a couple of days, then really your luck in finding a sponsor is going to be tough when it's that close to the wire.
I love it. Paul, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, good answers. Great answers so far. All of a sudden, I forgot the question. So,
Just how much time should you give you to respond?
Yeah, probably like the others need some gentle reminders. I'm sure everybody else is in the same boat, including all the students. But we just got a lot of stuff going on with kids, family, deals we're in, deals we're working on, this and that, building relationships. So yeah, I'll probably need a reminder, and a few reminders. And yeah, the day before, 2 days before, it's difficult to. I mean, usually we don't. We've got schedules kind of filled up, and so more than 2 days is more than 2 or 3 days is great to get through and look through these. So,
thank you, Frank. When is an appropriate time for a new investor to give you to respond?
I would say I agree that a quick reminder every day would be a good way to start, just like a little one line, pushing it back to the top of the email box. I would say that if it's in a market I've never been in before, it's going to take an extra day or two, because I have to do at least a brief overview of the market, think about it some more. Yeah, I was too busy laughing at Rob's comment, because I'm the one that has that 400+ page tax return. And, yeah, I'm sure you do too. I'm just thinking 10 LLCs. I'm still working on them. I think I have all my K1s in right now. So that's pretty good. I can't complain on that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. So I definitely want to ask this question about time while we're at it. Like, what is the biggest demand of your time? And we'll start with you, Frank.
The biggest demand of my time is making sure I spend enough time with the kids. Because you can get more deals, but it's hard to get time back with the kids. And I would say I'm definitely not perfect on that. I was, when I did my first sponsorship deal, I was working 7 days a week. I had a full-time job and a part-time job. But now I'm still going to say it's that. I mean, everything else is just me lazily planning along, reviewing deals, trying to put out some social media, and networking.
Paul, what is the biggest demand of your time?
I'm just going to say looking at deals and just trying to respond to all the emails and get through all the deals, and yeah, there's a lot to look at.
Okay. Yeah, just because I want, this question was motivated to, right? Like, we share all the time how we want freedom of time. We say when people come to this business, and I've been coaching here long enough now to know everyone says, I want freedom, financial freedom and freedom of time. So really, Rob, can you share like, what is the biggest demand of your time?
Well, the biggest demand of my time currently at the moment in this exact week, this exact month is, we're currently in escrow on 233 units. It's been a little bit of a tough road with the lender and other obstacles. So the details of that have taken up quite a bit of my time, as well as looking at other underwriting that comes my way. Frank's got a great answer, right? So my family needs my time, right? And so we need to carve that time out. It's a beautiful thing, the relationship that my wife and I have, because I let her know that I'm going to go conquer the world, and she says, no problem, just be home by 5 o'clock. so we have that worked out pretty well, but those days of being at the office until 8 or 9 o'clock is no longer acceptable, right? But so the family time is non-negotiable, no question about it. But looking at underwriting, honestly, and if I were completely transparent, mentoring and coaching is one of the largest parts of my time, because when people bring me a deal, if a lot of times it's not a deal, so there's coaching involved to say, look, we missed this, we missed this, we missed this. It's not really a deal, or it is a deal, but it's a skinny deal. It's a double. It's not a triple. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be a spoiler, guys, because I know how hard it is to find a good deal. But right now in this market, we need home runs. We need home runs, because when it turns out to not go reasonably well, it'll fall back and be a double. But if you've got a double and it doesn't go reasonably well, that's going to be a problem. Okay, so this is home run territory. We are in home run season. So if you got something that's a 12% IRR and an 18% average annualized return, that's not a home run. That's a double all day long. And that's even if you got the vacancy at the right spot and the exit cap right at the right spot, right? So if those are not at the right spot, that double just became not even a deal. So the key thing is you want to know with the right levers, and my underwriting questionnaire will handle some of that for you. And the coaching that we do is that we take very seriously. If you come on, I start looking at your stuff. If I look at it and it does an initial sniff, I'm going to pass it on to my underwriting, and they're pretty brutal. They'll give you an email with about 12 paragraphs telling you, asking you, and you go back to the drawing board and can answer those questions. But a lot of times those answers to those questions end up making it going from a triple to a single, from a double to not a deal, or maybe from a home run to a double. But just remember, we're in home run territory right now is the whole point of that. So be very, very selective about your deals. I know we all want to leverage the education that we paid for, but believe me, the best deal that you find might be one you don't even get into because it wasn't a deal at all.
Like that. That's huge. I hope everyone's taking notes. Michelle, can you share with us the biggest demand of your time? And you're on mute.
A lot of that kind of takes me back in terms of like that work-life balance here, because one of the reasons why the company is called Fire Capital, it's like financial independence through real estate. So I achieved that, and that is what I feel very passionate by, is like helping mentor, as Rob mentioned, help educate. I put out different education every single week. If you guys have or on my email newsletter, you'll get different information. Yesterday I was talking about and I'm the one who's actually writing this. I'm the one who's actually researching this. So and I feel very passionate by the nerdiness about it, because I'm an economist by training, is to spread the word and look at trends and see what's out there so that you can also be educated, etc. I started full time in this space in 2017, 2018, because I, as an ex startup techie, I was working, 60 to 80 hours a week. I was literally burning the candle at two ends. I'm a single mom. I had 2 kids, and I was also taking care of my very ill mom at the time. She passed away in 2020, end of 2020. But for 12 years, I was taking care of her and my 2 kids and work. Something's got to go. Besides your sanity, which I'm trying to preserve that as long as I can. So I had to make kind of one of those come to Jesus moments, and for me, it's more like I had to focus on what mattered. For me, the people in my life mattered. My family mattered. My sanity mattered. And I'm lucky enough to be able to pivot and recognize it, like all of you guys are doing. So congratulations on this. You are all trying to pivot and focus on what matters. And so very similar story. I was able to do that. It took a lot of hustle. There's a lot of hard work, a lot of resilience and perseverance, because it's earlier we talked about home runs. Well, I've become very greedy with my numbers as well, because you are in a, you guys are all in a really amazing time in which the market is shifting and it's going to work in your favor as the buyer. And so you have the ability to start becoming greedier because there's a recalibration happening. So, you know, it's like, I'm looking at, yeah, I won't, right now, an 18% ARR isn't as interesting for me anymore. You know, to be perfectly honest, I'm looking at 20% or more for investors, not even for the entire deal, but for my investors, because I want to set expectations and I want to like hit it out of the ballpark. And I will, like Rob knows, I am very conservative with my underwriting. So if you guys can hit that, then or really super close, so that there's an ability to retrade at the end or during contract, and but you are at a very wonderful pivotal time, and so you guys don't give up.
Yes, good. We need that little spark of hope in there. Sometimes we get so many hard questions about the market, and it's like, no, we're experiencing it, so it's happening. It's seeing it. Definitely pay attention. This one, and it's kind of again for everyone's information. I'm really not watching the chat. I got my questions, and I got to stay focused. I too much. Usually, I have a helper here, but again, we'll figure it out. That's what we do. The question here that I think is important, and I seen it briefly scroll past in the chat, is, what is your biggest struggle when sponsoring new investors? We'll start with you, Michelle.
A lot of it is I need to see commitment. I really need to see commitment. So it's softer skills for me that I first filter through. Obviously, the deal has to be important, so I will always ask for you to send me the OM, send me the underwriting, send me the T12 and the rent roll in Excel, because I will look at your numbers. I will definitely look at your numbers. And so I want to get a holistic picture of the deal. And so I can make sure that our time together when we do speak is as productive as possible, because your time is valuable as well. So I want to make the most of it. But really, it's the softer skills. It's important for, it sounds really cheesy, but it's really important for me to work with really nice people, committed, communicative, team and solution-based folks. Not those that are going to point the finger, not people that are going to have it just all to themselves or super greedy. Because there is you want this deal to be a success, and then one successful deal will lead to other deals. So if you're just super greedy in one deal, it's not going to bode well for you.
Good point. I heard one of the first lessons I learned is a small multifamily world, and you go to these networking conferences and you realize how small this multifamily world is. So thanks for touching on that. Rob, what is your biggest struggle when sponsoring new investors?
Probably getting through the education process, honestly, because what I've discovered in my own personal journey and what I see in other people's journeys is what we learn in the classroom is a great foundation, but when we get out in the real world, it needs to be tweaked just a little bit, right? So the key thing is be prepared for that. It's no different, although I only have an 8th grade education, I did walk into some business classes. I never got a degree or anything, but I did attend them. And at the time I was managing a business, and I could see what they were teaching in the classroom, and I knew what was really going on in the real world in my business. And the two didn't always align 100%, right? So what you're going to find is it's not going to align 100% to the real world out there. So the real world out there is us. And we can tell you from experience, this deal really doesn't work. This financing is probably not the direction we want to go, and so on and so forth. The list goes on and on. Just, you'll have to go on faith, like you're already doing. You spent a lot of money on the education. You're going on faith that this is going to be a new direction for you, and I'm believing for you 100%. I don't think you could be in a better place or a better business. And Michelle hit the nail on the head. This market is going to be in all of our favor. It's just a matter of time before it is. So, and it is right now, even, because the deals are already popping. So the reality is just be teachable. That's probably the biggest challenge that I have. Is people, maybe they don't say it exactly like this, but they're thinking that's not what I was taught. And the reality is sometimes the two don't line up exactly right. Yeah, it's kind of like, I talk about it all the time, but the Karate Kid, for those of us that have a few gray hairs and know what movie that is, he had no idea that he was learning how to protect himself when he was waxing the car and painting the fence. You just got to go on faith. And when the swings start coming, you'll be able to protect yourself.
Oh, that's a good analogy. I like that. Oh, Paul, can you share too your biggest struggle?
Yeah. Well, I think I was going to say, commitment. I thought Michelle brought up a good one. That's really important, having skin in the game. And then sometimes students will bring deals that like you want to find the right sponsor for your deal. Maybe for the deal you have, maybe it's maybe it's Rob. Maybe the next deal you have, it's Michelle. Maybe the next one is Frank, and maybe the next one's me. So like we all have kind of our preferences, our locations, our class properties that are going to be good. And if I'm not looking for stuff in North Dakota, then like you can keep bringing them to me, but I'm not going to sponsor it. I don't, and I'll just kind of reiterate what Michelle said with the commitment. I had somebody called me earlier this week and said, "Hey, I'm investing in Final. I've worked with them before," and they said we're flying out to look at a property, and can you come out and meet us? And yeah, sure. So it's great when and some of the people that I see on the call, I see Gene and Lenny, they've come out to meet me at tours, and I love to see that commitment. I love to see that, like, it's not just me doing the work, but like we're going to be working together. So
That's
I like
good.
that commitment too. That's that marathon mentality. Across the finish line. Frank, would you like to share your biggest struggle when sponsoring new investors?
I think a lot of it is what Rob already touched on, just the difference between theory versus experience and reality. Especially not just with the deal and the underwriting and the numbers itself, but also there's a lot of people that think it is so easy to capital raise. And I mean, we all work at it and we all do it, but I've seen a lot of people, not trying to scare anybody, I've seen a lot of people go splat on that first raise. So, it's harder than it looks sometimes. And if you have the right team, it helps. If you're bringing the right people for the deal, it definitely helps as well. But just the whole concept that how easy certain things are, how the numbers are supposed to look perfect versus, like we were saying, versus the experience.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So with that struggle, I was waiting for that to lead into this next part of the call. I know that we're kind of aiming for an hour and a half, everyone. So we'll try to get these through. I know Rob's got big plans going on, a big anniversary coming up, so we got to get them to. Her name is programmed, Miss Beautiful, in my phone. Yes, if you guys don't know, yeah, I love it every time. So into this transition, we do want to educate ourselves on how to prepare and position. And I've seen again a little bit of questions in the chat along these lines, but so can you share with us, and we'll start with Frank, the qualities that you like to see in the GP team before you say yes to sponsoring them? We kind of touched on it a little bit with commitment and different things like that. So anything else that you'd like to add?
I think it's harder than it sounds. Like Michelle said, with the concept of dating, very much that first deal, you're gonna have to have a lot of faith and trust. I have called other people in the business to double check on people that I am working with. So I called up a guy out of Colorado for the deal I was doing in Idaho, and I said, "Hey, you know this guy? What's one word that you would use for him?" And the word that came out of his mouth was integrity. And I said, "You know what? That is one of the most important words I need to hear, because even if the deal's going sour, at least I have faith that we're going to work hard and try to fix the deal with integrity." So that was super important to me, and we ended up doing that deal. And it's not the perfect deal. It's a little bit of a dog sometimes, but it generates money, and I can't complain. It's not going to be a trophy property.
I like it, Frank. What a great answer. Integrity. I know, Rob and I spoke a time or two, and we talked about that same thing, and just honesty and being honest. So, Paul, can you share the qualities that you like to see in partners or, with these new investors before you say yes to sponsoring them?
Yeah, integrity is a huge one. And then also add to that, I'm going to say doing what you say you're going to do. So, if I say, okay, you need to check on these tax numbers, and you got to check on, these number of different things, are you going to do what you said you're going to do? I mean, we can't do all the work for you. We're looking for partners, not kids. We all have enough kids. At least the sponsors do, I think.
Babysitting.
We're not looking for any more kids to babysit. We want partners that can really get in there and help us do the work. And hopefully, whenever we're on vacation, we can rely on you to pick up the slack. And when you're out for vacation or whatever, you can rely on us to do the same for you. So integrity, do what you say you're going to do.
Okay, I like that. Rob, would you like to add what qualities you look for? And sorry, you're about to take it.
Okay.
The qualities that you look for in partnering with people.
You know, we've talked about a lot of things in the other sponsors' answers, and this may have already been addressed, but it's really looking for people that are cooperative and friendly to be around. You know, right now I'm at the season in my life where my joy is very, very important to me. Right? If I get any signs that my joy is going to be robbed by working with people, it's one of those moments where you go, oh. Okay, then that's the sign. If you see me do that on a Zoom, oh, okay, then I automatically my little light switch just went bink, joy stealer. And if someone's going to steal my joy, I got to tell you, there's something that happens there, because if they're going to steal my joy, I'm pretty flexible. Claudia has this little antenna thing that spots people that are going to steal her joy, and I have to protect her joy, because if her joy gets taken by you, then my joy gets taken by her. So it's very, very important that I watch very closely for that. And you know, at the end of the day, I like to have fun. You know, I just like to enjoy myself and enjoy this business. And I can tell you, the partnerships that I'm on Zoom calls with every week, every other week, once a quarter, whatever the case may be, wherever that partnership is, we have fun. We laugh and we enjoy each other. And they're the people that if I had little kids, I would have no problem with them watching my kids. Yeah.
I like that. That's huge. I don't trust everyone with my babies, so yeah.
Right.
That's a good indicator. I like that. Michelle, can you please add the qualities that you look for?
Well, it's hard to add more to such wonderful answers. Definitely integrity is top of my list. Strong commitment to the process and to hard work. I definitely communication, responsiveness, even if you're super busy, because again, life happens, just saying, hey, I'm really super busy right now. I know I promised to get this to you. Is it okay if I just let you, I'll get it to you tomorrow morning, because I haven't slept in like 24 hours and I have like 2 twins kind of thing. Life happens. So that flexibility, teamwork is really important for me, and solution-based teamwork. So not people that will be pointing fingers, but there are going to be, throughout the life of a deal, really highs and really low lows. And so you really, I love working with people that are like, okay, this is the situation. It's all hands on deck, and let's figure out how to resolve this together. You know, I like to have fun. Anyone who knows, I definitely use those like Google GIF files and Google stuff a lot, because it gets boring. You know, life gets boring sometimes. You got to mix it up. So yeah, I have a bad sense of humor, though. You guys have to know, and unfortunately, I do swear a lot. I swear like a sailor. So if you have sensitive ears, and that would probably disqualify me.
If they did, they couldn't handle it here with Ty. I know, on all our calls. Like, gosh, come on. No, we give them a bad time for sure. So there's a couple questions that, you know, we're pretty much along these same lines in the efforts of trying to keep this moving. So we hear what you're looking for. So I'm just going to safely assume, and everyone should hear, that those are your values, that, you know, that you're looking for people because you share those same values. There's a question that came up about, if someone has no real estate experience, what would a piece of advice be to help them get to see success in this industry? Anyone want to start, or we can go back down the line? Michelle? No real estate experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Paul.
I'm sorry, I thought you were on mute. You go first.
Well, I mean, years ago, I mean, I came from tech. I didn't have real estate background, right? So you have to start somewhere, but being willing to, you know, roll up your sleeves and get dirty and start. It could be something small. It could be, you know, I know Rob had mentioned that he started with the fix and flips. I mean, my first deal was a 4-unit in apartment building in San Francisco, and you know, according to all the training and everything, no one would have said, like, San Francisco, invest in California, invest in San Francisco. No, screw that. Everyone would be like running for the hills. You know, it turns out to be one of my best investments. It was baptism by fire, but you're willing to learn. You have to stay curious. So just, you know, dive right in. Don't be afraid. There's a there's I guess a slang here, fail fast. So, if, get right back on, brush yourself off and get back onto, into the game. That would be my recommendation. It's doesn't matter whether or not you have real estate background or not. None of us did before years ago.
Yeah, I like that. Rob, do you have anything to add to that?
I think, we alluded to this a little bit earlier. The multifamily mindset education is phenomenal education, but it will also be the beginning for you, right? So as you're going through the path, as you're going through the classes, as you're going through these meetings here, this is all very fun. You're not going to get this pretty much anywhere else. This call is a perfect example of that. But there is other things that you can be plugging into. I've seen quite a bit of chatter about an event put on by RE Mentor Ultimate Partnering that's in San Diego next week. That would be one example. If you're in Florida, and I happen to know that Rod Cleef has his events down there, and so does Jake and Gino. You're not. Those are really good educational events, networking events, getting around like-minded people, keeping your head in the game. You as well as your local real estate investment association meeting and meetups. Nowadays is meetups. Back when I began, there was only RIAs, REIA meetings. Go to reia.com, find your local meeting, probably within 30 minutes where you're sitting right now, maybe an hour if you're in the boonies. There's going to be a RIA meeting, and there's everything there. Yes, there's wholesalers and flippers and all those guys, but there's also multifamily, there's mobile home park guys, there's you name it. They're all at that meeting, and it's just one more. I was at mine a few weeks ago. There was a gal there. She's 33 years old, multimillionaire. She buys underperforming notes. So it was another strategy that I sat there and took notes on. I was taking notes for an hour and a half as fast as I possibly could. The month before that was a guy that does wholesaling. So just getting around the people, networking, knowing who the players are in your local community is very, very helpful. And then, when your car is a university. So every time I'm in my car, I'm either on an audiobook or a podcast. Okay. In the old days, it was CDs, and before that, it was cassette tapes. But I would listen to those things until the words wore off of them. So I just want to encourage you, find your podcast, and I will reply for those of you that I've seen a number of emails coming in asking for my underwriting sheet. I will reply to you with that email with my favorite 5 podcasts that I listen to. My head is always in the game. See, I love the name Multifamily Mindset, right? Because it is all about mindset. And Jim Rohn used to say, beware of the thief on the street that's after your purse. But even more importantly, beware of the thief in your mind that's after your promise, right? There's something strange that happens between our ears when we distance ourselves from this education, from the people that are doing the deal, from the people that are successful. And our mind starts telling us that we aren't good enough, that we can't do this, that we don't deserve that type of success. No one's ever done it in your family before you. What makes you think you're going to do it? I'm telling you, you are a generational wealth creator, and you will be the one that breaks the chain. I promise you that. But you've got to keep your head in the game. You've got to be plugged in all the time. Little something every day. Yes, every day. Liz, when it's so easy, all I got to do is Bluetooth the podcast onto my car. That's easy. I can do that little something, even if my ride to work is 5 minutes.
I like that. That's what everyone's like, Kim, how can you fit reading into your schedule? Well, I do laundry. I cook dinner. I drive. I'm constantly just listening, learning. I love it, growing. So thank you so much for sharing that. Paul.
Yeah. So,
go ahead.
Yeah. So, for those of you who are asking, I don't have any experience in real estate. I don't have a background. Well, you're in the right place because there's some fantastic people. Kimberly, the whole ecosystem of, helping others and forming teams to do deals. You're in the right place to do that. And I think Rob mentioned it, or maybe Michelle, none of us started out in real estate. So for us, we were all new to it at some point. And I think a lot of people just quit too early before they see the success. And it's crazy. You think, they paid how much to learn how to do this. And then like 3 months later, it's like, where are they?
Mm-hmm.
The two people. Yeah. So a long time ago, I got into commercial real estate in 2014. I went through a training program in 2016 or 17. Formed partnership, and within 8 months or so, my 2 partners left, and I was just too hard-headed, stubborn. I'm not sure what, but I was like, I'm going to make this work, and I don't, so I had to get creative, and I think the MFM group and the other sponsors will help you and give you that support that you need to make it. But you got to stay in the game. You've always got to be filling your mind with good stuff, hanging around the people that are doing it or trying to do it. And you'll get there. You'll get the success if you just don't quit. maybe it'll be next month, maybe it'll be next year, maybe it'll be 2 or 3 years. So, and some of you are like, I can't wait 3 years. Well, how bad do you want it? So, you'll get the success. You're brand new to real estate. Just stick around the group, go to the events, stay, kind of engaged and connected. So,
I like that. Thank you. Frank, you shared you're a teacher, right? Did you have real estate experience before that?
Definitely not. But the main thing I would say is there's two main things, education and networking. I run the local RIA. It's the largest RIA in the area. It's been around for 20 years. I started going around 18 years ago, and then eventually they said, I'm tired, you take it over. And what's cool about that is I have at least 12 limited partners from that RIA, which is awesome. Education, obviously I agree with Rob about the podcast. We have our own podcast. It always brings connections. It always leads me to new opportunities, new deals. We're very generalized real estate. We're not just syndications, but we've had a few syndicators on there as well. So it's really cool. And it helps me get involved in all those different aspects of real estate. So education, networking.
Okay, thank you. So if anyone didn't do your homework, you should look up Frank's podcast. He had a really great guest on there. All right, one more in this category. People reach out all the time. Kim, how do I even start? What do I say? How do I, even just knock on this door to start this relationship with the sponsors? So can you share, the best way for our students to present themselves to you? And we'll start with Frank, and we'll go back.
Repeat the question. I'm over here reading through the chat as well. Sorry.
See, I'm purposely not trying to look at it.
The chat is flying through.
I'm gonna have to. I'll save it. I'm definitely.
You have to be a speed reader.
I'm missing out over there. So, what is the best way? Often, I'll share, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But a lot of times, I just share. I just started following you guys. I'm just started watching on social media, different platforms, and if you, just liking posts, commenting on posts, if it has something to do with either mindset or real estate, sharing those posts, and just trying to get. I know that opens your guys' influence, right? And social media, once I share it to my people, then it helps your channel grow as well. So I always suggest social media, but is there any other way that for our new investors, what is the best way for them to start that initial contact?
So you're talking about initial contacts. When you first started the question, I thought you were talking about initial contacts to start thinking about offers and deals.
Oh, no, just to build a relationship with you.
Oh, yeah, I agree then. Social media is the best way to do it. Start to learn about the person. I mean, even before we had the rescheduled, I already had at least 6 or 7 people in this call reach out. I actually met one in person, which was really cool. He's working tonight. Adam, shout out. He'll watch this on the recording. But yeah, social media is the best way. You can do phone calls, you can do text, but if you get to really learn about the person, comment, that's the best way to get started, in my opinion. I love Instagram and Facebook, and try not to be on LinkedIn too much, but you almost have to be there.
Yeah. Pop, what's the best way for them to start a relationship with you?
Yeah, social media is a good place to start. I mean, email is good. Phone call, that's good too. But sometimes it's hard to, I can't always just take a random call. It's like it's maybe spam. So yeah, social media or email is great.
Rob,
Contact?
what's the best way for them to start a relationship with you?
Social media makes it so that I can answer when I have time. It's kind of like an email, right? If you message me on IG, and I do answer all my messages on IG. I'm like a 16-year-old teenager answering IG after dinner on the couch. So I do. But if you shoot me a text message, if you don't get a response, then I would encourage you to text me the following day. My phone number will be in my email response to the people that asked for the underwriting questionnaire. And I did want to point one other thing, not on that topic, out. I mentioned a RIA meeting being important. And I mentioned the podcast being important. And here's Frank over here. He's now a sponsor on this call. And that's where he started. And he's currently got his own podcast. Very, very powerful affirmation of what I'm trying to share with you. Yeah.
And we've never met before today. I didn't get that advice directly from you, but I agree with you 100%.
Right. It changed my life, man. Made me wealthy. Yes. It's just being in the local market. You can get education national, and it's very, very valuable. But if you're going to begin your career local and the power team that you need local, you're going to find it there and get some education in the meantime. Matter of fact, Dave Lindahl back in the day actually came to my RIA and spoke at the front of the room. That's how long ago I've been doing RIAs. But anyways.
All right. Michelle, what is the best way for our new investors to start a relationship with you? Oh, Is that just me? Oh, can you guys hear? Nope. Oh, Michelle,
She's
it's
muted.
now you're mute. No, and it's kind of choppy right now.
Oh, no.
So that just drives me flipping crazy when that happens to me.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
happened.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes, perfect.
It certainly helps to send me dark chocolate.
Absolutely.
No, but in all seriousness, well, that's serious too, is just, really an intro. I put up and through the chat, my Calendly link, so feel free to, set some time. I have a 15-minute intro call available that I always dedicate either Thursday or Friday to meet new people. And then in terms of actual email reach outs, please send the bio. If this is very deal specific, then also, as I mentioned earlier, send me the materials and your bio, and when is the best time for us to connect. I'm in California, so, it's in the Bay Area. I know that there's a couple of people that were tracking who are the Californians. I'm native, although I've lived all over the place. So feel free to reach out. I make myself available, and with any questions. So whether it has to do with a particular deal or with underwriting or with asset management, et cetera, this time is dedicated for you.
Beautiful, beautiful. I know we're getting almost, we have just a few more minutes. So these ones are gonna be more market specific. So we're gonna get into some knowledge based questions here. So one of the questions right now our people have asked is, how are you handling investor concerns with the inflation and rising rates, rising interest rates? And we can start with Michelle.
Okay. I actually wrote about this. So for all of this, for all of you guys, you can go. I as I mentioned earlier, I produce education all the time. You can go to my blogs section in the insights of my website, which I put up in the chat. And I have all these articles that I write myself and I publish, et cetera, to try to help all of you guys figure out and create that balancing act. With regards to inflation and the Fed, I had the privilege of listening in and participating in a call about a month ago with Ben Bernanke, and it was just like, it was wonderful. We were talking about the, how September was going to be like, it's going to be a toss-up, but either way, the Fed is very much committed to reaching and delivering a low inflation. If that is verbally committing to a 2%, then that is verbally, they're very serious about that. So the rates are very much a lag indicator, so it won't happen. You won't really, the government really doesn't see the results of their changes for another 1 or 2 quarters minimum. So you can probably expect another at least a quarter point increase. Sorry to break it to you guys for those who are optimistic, but if you've heard it from other people, you're hearing it from me. There's a strong pressure for that. But there's also glimmers of hope that the bottom, we're now starting to see the bottom. We're not there yet, but we're starting to see where the bottom might be. And it really also depends on the sector that you're in. Circling back to how you communicate, it's transparency. It's communicate, over communicate. People, let's say like a year ago, even the best underwriters could not have predicted the doubling or tripling of insurance rates that we were all experiencing as operators, right? So these are some of the things that you as an operator, as a syndicator, really needs to. You just have to be honest. I mean, these were things that were out of your control. So communicate that, and it's not there. This is a long game. It's not like you've got these investors investing in digital currencies or in digital artwork. These are real assets with real long-term profitability. So if you operate it correctly, then the big thing is communication.
I like that. Always communication. Rob, how have you been handling any investor concerns with inflation or interest rates?
At the end of the day, the investor sentiment is, I call it the CNN factor. The investor sentiment is not very bullish at the moment. They're very bearish. So it takes a whole lot higher of a level of communication in order to get them into even considering deals right now. So I've raised money for a number of different deals, and this is back to the home run factor. You know, if you've got deals that have attractive returns, most investors are looking at those and wondering if that's reality. But even if it turns out to not go as reasonably well, it could still be a double and still have very, very attractive returns. So just know that right now, if you are out raising funds, you probably can relate to what I'm talking about. But I will tell you, it's not a normal representation of what the marketplace is for investor sentiment on raising money.
Thank you. Thank you. That's great. Paul, okay, he's there. Do you have anything to add to investor?
What Phil said was really good on like deals that you're already in. You know, this can be predicted, but you know, hopefully with our conservative underwriting, you know, we're all safe and you know, all do well on new deals that we're working on. You know, I think if we can make money when interest rates are what they are now, if we have some cap rate compression, then we're really gonna see some really good returns. So yeah, that's what I say.
Thank you. Frank, do you have anything to add to how you're addressing investor concerns?
On the deals that we already have, we've been kind of lucky. We have 4 out of 6 that are paying distributions right now. The other 2 are in Texas. So between insurance and taxes, as long as we're communicating, just being honest, we're saving a little bit for a rainy day right now. You know, we're getting, because I mean, these were all bought in the last 3 years, and you know, a lot of these value-add multifamilies you're buying with bridge debt to begin with. So we're saving a few bucks for the extension fees, which is perfectly fine, and the investors know it. So to be honest with you, we haven't had a question from our current investors. For new investors, at this second, I'm not raising. I'm pulling Rob's strategy and the fact that there's been a few mediocre deals that have come across my desk, but they weren't solid enough that I want to take a risk with the investors right now. And I mean, we have one in our pocket. We're doing, Kim, you already know about this development deal that we're doing. We're just getting the numbers right. We'll probably do it with probably no debt at all. So the investors will be very excited that it'll be a great return and go with that.
I like it. I like it. So this relates, right? Like, how has your investment strategy changed? And Frank, I know you are in, you know, different forms of multifamily, but even over the last 90 days, has it changed? Or if it has changed, how so? Your investment strategy.
For me, my investment strategy would be the same. The numbers are just tighter. Michelle used the word greedy. I would use the word defensive or protective of not just my capital, but my investors' capital as well.
Mm-hmm. Like that. Paul, has your investment strategy changed over the last 90 days? Yes.
Not really. I mean, we're always tweaking the numbers based on what we're kind of seeing in the market, but nothing, no big shifts.
Okay. Rob?
Well, other than the fact that doubles used to be okay, because if things didn't go reasonably well, the market would still make you look like a hero, right? So now those days are gone, and you've actually got to pull a deal out of a deal. So just being really, really picky with the underwriting and what I'm going to surrender my bandwidth to, right, is very, very important. You know, Frank touched on it too. It isn't just my time. It's our generally, in 90% of the things that we're in, Claudia and I are helping with the earnest money. We're helping with the upfront third-party costs, which all that stuff is non-refundable once it's given to the bank, once it's given to the inspectors, the people that you're going to have inspect, the third-party inspection team. So, you know, the reality is we really want to make sure that we're getting involved with things that make sense and are going to make sense if things don't even go as planned, right? That's when I say a home run, that means that gives you the room for things not to go as planned and still to make money on it, right?
I like that. I like that. Michelle, has anything changed in your investment strategy?
Well, everyone talked about, you know, playing with the numbers, readjusting the underwriting, et cetera, to take into account, you know, the changes in insurance, the changes in higher operating costs like labor, depending on the market conditions, et cetera. One thing, though, about this market that is changing to people's favor and is the need, I would say that the window is opening for more creative financing, for more creative ways to close the deal. So, or even when you have a deal, there are different ways, there are different levers that you can pull in terms of financing that actually can work to your favor. So in one case, I'm going to be my own bank. I'm going to buy my whole loan out. I'm going to be the bank, and it's going to be a win-win for the investors and myself. I mean, I wouldn't have thought about doing that, you know, 8 months ago or a year ago. So these are things that you it helps to have a drink of wine every once in a while and think creatively, but you definitely have that ability to start thinking creatively. Ask for seller financing now. There are different ways to handle it. So the different extensions, different terms. It's all about the terms.
Terms. I really like that. And that's things that, like it'll be another call. So don't blow up the chat right now telling me what's all the different terms. Like we'll get there. We'll get there. I'll start with Rob this time because I know we're hitting right at that time. Can you?
We're doing okay. You didn't see it in the chat, but I sent you a message. We're okay until 6. I don't know. I want to be respectful of everybody else's time, but I have some flexibility.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
You should probably do that group picture right now, Kim, before you start losing people.
I know. We lost about 20. I don't know how to do gallery. Does that show everyone gallery or just me? Because I see everybody. I'll do this picture. Miguel, are you there? Because I see a black screen. Everyone else has their camera on. Robert's not there, but all right, everyone say cheese. 3, 2, 1, cheese. All right.
Yeah, and apparently the word has not gotten out, but there's a recent article that came across the internet, so I know that it's reliable and it's true, that says that people who turn on their camera on Zoom meetings will have better love lives and live 10 years longer.
Ooh, all right. There we go.
All right. It must be true because I saw it on the internet, but if you want to risk it, you go ahead.
Did Abraham Lincoln say that?
All right, guys. Our page 2. I don't know if you guys can see who's on what page, but we got people like Kim, no slouching. Enrique, good to see you. Matthew is not there. All right, so we're gonna do a photo here. Michelle, looking beautiful. Joe, cheese. All right, gotta hurry up. This is my favorite thing to do, but sometimes all these pages add up. All right, here we go. Good. I'm just snapping them. Stay cheesing, everyone. Here. Oh, Lenny's not even on camera. All right.
Good guy.
Where are they? And then, oh gosh, I don't even know if I should take the last few pages. All the cameras are off anyways. Oh goodness. All right. Now that we got this out of the way, and I will definitely post that later. I do want to touch on before we get to the fun questions. What is your can you give us your buy box? A lot of people are going to say, come in and ask. And if they didn't do their research, maybe they could do that now. There we go. So we could start with Michelle then, or if you're open to new markets as well, go ahead and share that.
So did I hear that you wanted to know about my deal criteria?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm in 7 states. So I'm currently in like Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, Texas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Ohio. I think I actually might be 8. California. So so if you have deals in those markets, great. I can help leverage my team on the boots on the ground. If I'm also very much interested in, for instance, the West Coast, Utah, Colorado, Oregon, Washington. Believe it or not, some deals are starting to come up in California even that are quite interesting. So things of that nature. Arizona, I apologize, I didn't include that one. So I'm definitely in acquisition mode, definitely expanding. There's been a lot of discussion. I definitely leverage different technologies to help smooth out the kinks. Processes are in place, just like everyone, all the sponsors here, we all have our different processes, templates, questionnaires, et cetera, to work with. And we're all, I'm sure, happy to share those with you. But usually if it's a brand new market, I'm looking for 100 or over. If it's a market that I'm already deeply in, it could be, if the numbers work, and I can look at smaller deals like 50 or, 60, even I've done some quick JVs of 30, for instance. The numbers have to work. For me, it's also really important to have very strong property management in place. So I have a really good relationship with the property management firm, and they already have a footprint in that space. Then that makes it an easy yes, because at the end of the day, it's the boots on the ground that are going to make the property a success. So if there's that level of trust there, then that's already key. I think that covers pretty much at least B location, C plus B location. I'll be greedy and say A. And then in terms of the asset class, I'll look at C and B for for sure. But if it's a C asset, I would prefer a B location.
Okay. Do you guys have a number on it? Or do you have a number, as far as, do you want them to stay below 10 million? I know sometimes like when I'm talking to sponsors, they always touch on like the raise, like, right? Like, so is there even, not so much the purchase price, but, you know, we have to consider if we're putting more down, right? Like like we're not doing 25 LTV anymore. So if, you know, if we're up there, so does that factor in to your buying criteria as far as purchase price and how much maybe the
Well, I
Well-
mean, the purchase price doesn't really matter. The numbers definitely do. As a lot of these sponsors can attest, a lot of us co-sponsor or partner together. So if it might be a little bit too, if it might be a little too much for me to solo sponsor, you know, heck, I've reached out to Rob, you know, on some bids in Florida. I've worked with, Dave and Bob Bowman, a couple of other folks. So, you know, the sky's the limit. If the numbers are solid, underwritten conservatively, that we can move, the money's there.
Awesome. Awesome. Rob, can you share with us what you're looking for your buying criteria?
So I will also include our deal criteria sheet when I reply to your email, but just high level, 80 units and above, preferably above 100, but there's always a way to take down a deal. Michelle just touched on it a moment ago. For the longest time, I didn't want anything under 150 doors, but I had a student bring me a 40-plex and it didn't really work for syndication, but a friend of mine and myself, and we all partnered on it. We call it a JV. Everybody's actively involved with it. So it passes the sniff test of the Security and Exchange Commission to be a true joint venture. The student came in at 20% of the deal for having found the deal. And we've owned that since 2019. It's a very, very profitable 40-plex. We could throw a rock at the little portion of wall that Trump did get built. We could hit it with a rock from this building. It's down in southern Texas. And then that same student brought a 34-plex to us, and we did the same exact thing one more time with a different friend of mine. So every deal has a way to take it down. But perfect world, I would love for the property to be able to support a full-time manager and a full-time maintenance person. And that's going to be in that. The sweet spot for that is 80, really 100, but we'll say 80 or above. I don't like anything below 1980s. I've had some 1950s and 60 kick my butt. As you will learn, that's one of those things you just got to, no matter how good the deal is, you just trust me, you're going to need a whole lot more money in reserves for 50s and 60s and 70s stuff. There's a lot of surprises that come up. So as far as place in the country, I put it in their chat earlier. I can put it again. I'm in a lot of different places around the country, but I'm probably, even if I'm not in the place in the country that you're looking at a deal, I've probably done my due diligence because I've kicked a lot of tires on different areas that we didn't end up closing the deal, but I got very familiar with that community, with that area. So, but the key thing is you should be telling us, I say us, me, why you like that area. Because if the answer is because I found a deal in that area, that's not a good answer. So what is the reason why that makes sense to you? And that's really going to be the key but chances are I've done my due diligence on the area, regardless of where it is, at least somewhere close to it. And that's high level. Just the key thing is that you own the deal. You need to know the deal in and out before you come to it. Again, remember the low hanging fruit. Remember the little packet compared to the big packet that's on the mortgage broker's desk. You want something that we, and I know I'm speaking for all of the sponsors, we want something that you've done your legwork on, that you know the deal really well. I can ask 3 or 4 questions, and they won't be tough questions. I'm not talking in the weed stuff. And if you don't know the answers, I'm going to know pretty quickly that you don't know this deal very well, and that means you're expecting me to do all the work.
Mm-hmm. We call that
the
story.
I segued into another topic, so forgive me for that. But anyways,
No. Yeah.
I'm a really hard worker. I just can't do it all for you. There's a partnership, so you need to come with a lot of those answers already owned and known very well. Yeah.
Yep. Know the story. That's what we say here. Know the story of your deal. So
Okay.
awesome. Paul, can you share with us your buying criteria?
Sure. I'm okay with smaller deals. I'll do 2 million to 10 million. A, B, some C areas, no war zones, real dangerous areas. 20% average annual return to the investors. And I really like Indiana, Texas, and Georgia. If you're experienced, if you've got, some real experience to bring to the table and you just need a sponsor, but you're well experienced, I'll do a deal probably anywhere. If the deal makes sense. So, and if you're not experienced, Indiana, Texas, and Georgia.
Thank you. Frank, can you share with us your deal criteria?
I want to give you great deal criteria, but I want to say I've done just about everything. I would say that typical would be 50 to 150 units. B areas, it could be a C property that we could move up a little bit. 20% IRR. If I haven't been in the market before, sell me in the market. Do that research so that you know where the local pizza place here that the apartment's going to be going to, stuff like that. That shows me you know your market. I'm willing to look at not just multifamilies. I've looked at a few hotels, and if you have some cool international stuff, I'd be in too. We currently have a property in Punta Cana. We have a property in under contract in Roatan, Honduras, and we passed on a deal in Santorini, Greece this year.
I'd love to do due diligence on that
Me
one.
too.
Yeah, Michelle, hey, we're experienced. We got you, Frank. It's good.
Due diligence was fun in Roatan. We did it in July.
Okay, I love it. Thanks so much. If anybody want, the sponsors like to add anything, I have my fun questions, and then we can wrap it up in about 10 minutes. If anybody's brave enough to, we can take like maybe 4 questions. First 4 that raises their hand, but can we go into maybe it's Dave's version of the lightning round. I do have fun questions. I like how he does that on his podcast. So we'll start with Frank, talking or text, or actually this is for everyone at the same time, talking or text.
I don't mind talking on the phone. Sorry. I don't mind talking on the phone, but text is easier because I'm on podcasts all the time and doing stuff.
We know Rob's is IG. Oh, yeah, you're muted. Paul?
Text.
Text. Okay.
Text.
All right. Favorite U.S. city besides where you live? Anybody?
Remember what kind of city?
U.S.
San Diego.
Okay. Where you're at right now?
San Diego.
Michelle? Paul? Frank? Favorite?
Goodness.
It can be international. I know you just got back from Japan.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
can't
gosh,
pick a
so many
favorite.
different places. I'd say I lived in Bali. I like Bali. Bali's not bad.
Like it. Favorite city? Paul? Frank?
I'm going to lean towards Sarasota right now. I have not been to San Diego yet, Rob. So
I've got a lot of favorites, but I'll say for today I'll say Salt Lake City because it's a beautiful city, a lot of cool stuff, and mountain biking.
Oh, and then winter, it's beautiful. Yes. I found a place in my heart, that place. Dusk or dawn? Are you guys early birds or night owls?
Dusk.
Sunsets.
Yes.
I would say sunsets, but it's been so hot here in Texas that I'll say dawn.
I'll say night owl. Sometimes it's dawn because in Punta Cana the bars are open until about 6 a.m. Some of them, but we'll say night owl.
Wow. Okay. Favorite junk food. And if anyone has been on this call with Rob before, they should know. Just put it in the chat if you know Rob's favorite junk food. But who else?
I saw it once already. There it
Oh,
is again.
Mark. Oh, they know. They know. You guys are
That's
awesome.
right.
Yep, they do know. I love
It's
it.
so funny. It's so funny when I speak at different multifamily events. There's always 3 or 4 different brands of the flavors of the Milano waiting for me. God bless them. My waistline hates it, but my taste buds love it. Thank you, Jesus, for those Milanos.
Oh, I love it. Frank, Paul, Michelle, favorite junk food?
Is tiramisu a junk food?
I wouldn't think so. It's fancy.
We'll go with that.
Okay. And Michelle, you're on mute. It's okay.
I already mentioned it earlier. I have a weakness for dark chocolate.
Yeah.
So
I don't know which one to pick. Reese's Pieces, I guess.
My son is anaphylactic, shocked to peanut butter, and I get mad at him all the time. I'm like, what's wrong with you? He's like, Mom, I was born that way. Like, yeah, I know. But still, I miss my Reese's. All right. Mountains or beaches?
Is the Addicted to Life all-in community. Beaches.
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 Oh, 100%. I love it. What song would you like for your theme song? It's a hard one. This one was sorry.
We are the champions.
Ooh, I like it. And Michelle, you're on mute.
well, actually, I have this, believe it or not, written in my will that I want "Let's Go Crazy" by Prince to be played when they hit the cremation button.
I love it. Let's go crazy. Oh man, I'm gonna put that on my playlist too. Frank, Paul.
When I left teaching, the song I wrote in the letter was "I Did It My Way" by Frank Sinatra.
Oh, okay. I like that.
That's
Paul?
good. I don't know. Maybe Eye of the Tiger.
Okay, yeah. The Rocky song. All right. Climb a mountain or jump from a plane.
Climb a mountain.
I'm
I've climbed mountains. I haven't jumped from planes, so I don't know you know what? I got to go where I haven't been before. I'm going to say jump out of a plane.
Love it. We should do that in San Diego next week. Find a plane.
Let's do it.
Michelle?
I've done both. So, but I actually would say neither. I'm gonna say I've dived, anything to do with scuba diving.
Yes. I need to add that one on next time. Okay. This one's a little bit more personal question, but can you share one thing that you learned later on in your investment career that you wish you would have learned earlier? We can start anywhere.
branding is important.
Randy. Okay. Like it.
Team, for me, it's really about the team. There are so many of us that are, as I think Rob alluded, type A solopreneurs. We think that we can get and do it. We're jack of all trades, and it's really important to know that you're capable of doing everything, as he said, but do you really want to do everything? And team up with those folks that have those complementary superpowers.
Yeah, I think probably all of that is really good, and I totally can relate to it as well. But I think it falls into that same question that we've probably all seen before. If you knew that you could not fail at the one thing what would be the one thing that you want to do if you knew that failure was not even a possibility, right? So the key thing is I would have overcome the fear, the false evidence appearing real a lot sooner. My own self-doubt, I would have overcome that a lot sooner.
Beautiful. I really, yeah. Paul.
Yeah, those are good. So I'll say being patient and waiting for the right deal instead of trying to make deals work that shouldn't work.
All right.
Well, I'll agree with Paul. I'll say taking action though is important too.
Yeah, we get some overthinkers in here sometimes. That's for sure. All right, we're down to the last 7 minutes, guys. I do see Jose has his hands up. First and foremost, please drop in the chat a big thank you. As a thank you in chat together. But yes, please. I really, really want sincere questions. Jose, I hope you have a question. A lot of times people raise their hand just to say, I'd just like to thank you. Please drop the thank you in the chat, because if you have a question right now, we'll use this time for a question. So go ahead, Jose.
Thank you for the opportunity to ask a question.
That's it.
I know you don't want to say thank you, but I got to thank you. You've been an awesome host. You are awesome. Thank you for that. My question for all the sponsors, are you guys willing to come to Hawaii to do a deal in Hawaii?
Probably not.
Got a couple yeses. Yeah.
If the numbers work, I can be there.
Good question. All right, Liz. Ask away.
Oh, sorry, I clicked the button. Okay, so I was going to ask about your team. Besides the people that we've talked about, do any of the sponsors have like an administrative assistant, or do you basically do everything yourself? Especially, I know that Rob said that you used to be in real estate before, flipping homes. So, how do you guys handle that?
Well, yes, my wife and I work as a team. We also have an assistant. I also have a VA, and then that's our administrative team. And then that's where the partners that you team up with within the education on these calls, and that's your 2 or 3 person team is going to be the rest of that properties team.
Okay, great.
And
Thank you.
That's just me. Everybody else can speak up for themselves. Of course.
I mean, we own a virtual assistant company, so most of our partners have VAs from us. So I would highly recommend using someone else's skills to help you.
Great. No, that sounds good, because we already have an administrative team from the residential real estate, and we would want to keep them, right? Like, we love them. They're doing a great job. We've done a lot of training with them, so we'd love to keep them and continue on with a multifamily.
We actually have a national syndicator. I won't mention his name because we're being recorded, but they have 20 full-time VAs from us working this business. So
And we've probably seen his work. So
probably seen his work.
if you're in this industry. Michelle or Paul, anything to add, or we can go on to Rachel?
No, I definitely leverage VAs for sure.
I should, but I don't.
It's okay. It's all
You
right.
can talk, Paul.
Yeah, for sure. Rachel, go ahead and ask your question.
Actually, this is directed at Frank. Hi, Frank. How are you? My question, you mentioned hotels. I have a friend that's actually selling a hotel, but I don't know how to, underwrite that deal. Would you be willing to set aside time to maybe work with me on that?
Sure. I would definitely take a look at it. What state's it in?
It's actually in the Dominican Republic.
I know a lot, and like I said, we have one there now, so yeah, definitely.
Thank you. I guess we'll see your number posted again. I'll get it. Thank you. That's all. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. Yes, please, if you guys can drop your contact information or however you want the our new investors to reach out to you one last time for people that leave and join. I will try to save the chat this time, guys. I know I'm a stickler about not saving it, but I will this time. But yeah, that's really it. I just like, for me, I do want to be respectful of everyone's time, and it's a weekend and we're still over 102 minutes before the time's up. So thank you all with all of my heart for being flexible and patient with us, and cannot wait to see you guys all this next weekend.